Liverpool's title defence comes to a stuttering end, ladies and gentlemen. Brighton come to Anfield and go away with a 1-0 victory. A victory that, look, in fairness, their performance and their hard-fought win deserved. I don't think we were at the races at all today. You got the feeling maybe when Mohamed Salah missed that chance early days that we were going to be out of this one, or it was going to be one of those days. But after that, other than a chance Salah missed in the second half, I really don't think that we created too much. Opposition fans are, of course, going to jump all over this, and you guys have every right to. That was a pathetic display from Liverpool. I want to go through it in a lot more detail. I want to go through the ups and downs. We've got some callers waiting to speak as well. Obviously, we want to hear from you guys in the chat and let you get your frustrations out. Vent, folks. It's okay to feel angry right now because that was a pathetic display from the champions. Right, I'm going to bring in Jack Gill first. So let's bring in Jack Gill and have a chat with Jack. Jack, how are you, sir? What's your initial feeling after that display?
Shite, mate. Listen, this is happening way too much recently. We made a slight turn with the results and the performances against West Ham and Spurs. But even in that West Ham game, that first 45 minutes was poor. It was only a dramatic turnaround in the second half when Curtis Jones came on, where we won the game and looked outstanding, really. But tonight it was just absolutely pathetic. There was no creativity. Defensively, we were okay, but we knew that Brighton weren't going to, offer too much going forwards. They get a scrappy goal, and we never looked like scoring, Craig, not at all. And my point is today we've spent so many weeks when we've lost or only picked up a point and should have won, where we've turned around, we've had a moan at VAR, or we've had a moan at the referees, or we've had a moan at how teams like to play with a low block against us. But quite simply, Craig, we are not good enough at the moment. Something has changed. We're not the same. Teams are working out how to play against us. We're so one-dimensional, and it's just not good enough. And quite simply, we don't deserve the title this year. And people will still put us in the race, and people will still say, look, if Liverpool can beat City at the weekend, they'll still be in the race. But I disagree, because this won't be the last time we drop points this season.
No, look, I agree with everything you've said there. We're not in the title race. Let's not kid ourselves anymore. It's Manchester City's title to throw away at this point. I mean, yes, Manchester United are still in there with a fighting chance. Leicester will fancy that they could keep going, but we have a lot of problems, Jack, that need to be solved. And I know I apologise for keep harping back to this fact, but again, what did Divock Origi offer when he came onto the pitch? What was the plan? I'd love to know what the plan was.
At half-time, the game was screaming for Curtis Jones. It was absolutely screaming for it. And why Klopp didn't bring him on then, I have no idea. Why we had to wait till the 75th, 78th minute to see Curtis Jones, I have absolutely no clue. The double substitution from Klopp was ridiculous. I thought, the players he took off and the players he brought on was stupid. Origi, I don't know why he's still at the club. His last good performance was the Champions League final. Oxlade-Chamberlain hasn't done enough since his injury to show that he was going to change that game. And, I looked at the bench before kickoff and I was worried if things weren't going right for us. I didn't know who was there to come off the bench. And listen, for a lot of the week, people have applauded the Minamino loan move, but I think it's ridiculous that we allowed him to go out on loan with how thin our squad is right now, because we had no one on the bench this evening. I know we've got a lot of injuries. I know we're struggling with injuries and illnesses as well, with Alisson out injured tonight. But there's just not enough on our bench at the minute. And, to allow a player like Minamino to go out on loan, I think is a ludicrous decision with the state we're in at the moment.
It is. And again, I looked at the starting 11 and I was fully sure that we were going to see Curtis Jones starting this game after his impressive display at the end of the last one. And there was talk of Jimmy Milner maybe feeling something in his hamstring. But I'm like you, and when it was time to make the changes, one, take Milner off, and two, I don't know, just bring on somebody who's going to run at people. Chamberlain and Jones to me would have made more sense. I don't want to hate on Divock. I really don't. but I cannot see what he adds to the team when he comes on. And look, the manager had his hands tied to a certain extent with team selection. Some people are asking why, like, for instance, why maybe one of our new signings wasn't in defence. You can't bring a new signing in like that and drop him in without a training session or anything. And today, defensively, it wasn't what cost us the game, Jack. It was a lack of creativity moving forward, a lack of ideas, the same ball into the box over and over and over again. And I don't know why, but Robertson seems to be afraid to take on a fullback these days. And I've no idea why, because he has cover. I've seen the players tuck in just in case, and he just won't go around the outside.
That's the thing. We can sit here and we can talk about Origi all day because, he's not been good for a while. But there were so many poor performances on that pitch this evening. For Firmino, I'm a massive fan of Firmino. I openly say all the time when Firmino's at the top of his game, we're at the top of our game. But he was poor once again tonight. We can't keep having this from Firmino where he gives us a good couple of games and then he's shite for another couple of games. Salah wasn't at his best tonight. Shaqiri was ghosting most of the game. James Milner, I think, at times towards the end of the game, you could see that he was completely gassed out. He's played 3 games in a week now. He's 35 years old. I don't know how he lasted 90 minutes this evening. Jurgen Klopp himself, I think he's one of the best managers in the world, and he's given us some great moments in the last few years. He's won us our first title in 30 years, but he's not immune from criticism. And tonight, Jurgen Klopp got it wrong, and his changes were wrong. I think his starting lineup was wrong. I know he doesn't have much to choose from, but I think Curtis Jones should have started. And yeah, I don't think it was a great night on all fronts this evening.
Yeah, I agree with you on Bobby Firmino. I mean, we've seen glimpses in the last game, and I think I said before the game started today, I think Bobby's back. I think we're starting to see the old Bobby, but you get that feeling in the pit of your stomach when Mohamed Salah missed that chance early doors. I don't know about you, Jack, but to me, I was thinking this could be one of those days. And somebody in our chat said this has 1-0 Brighton written all over it.
Well, yeah, it was one of them things. But Craig, I'll 100% say, Brighton were the better side today. 100%. We deserved nothing from that game, the way we played. We didn't test Sanchez one bit. We had two decent chances for Salah that on another day he takes, but he takes them on another day because he's a world-class player. They weren't chances that he should have scored or he definitely should have put away. They were just chances that on another day the world-class Mohamed Salah puts in the back of the net. We offered absolutely nothing this evening. And, that is one of the worst performances I have seen us play under Jurgen Klopp. And things need to change. The players need to pull their fingers out their arses. I don't care that there's no fans in the stadium. I don't care that they've been working hard for 3 years and we've not done too much in the transfer market. These players need to pull their fingers out their arses and play for their futures at Liverpool. Because if not, I can see us going in the transfer market and making some big signings in the summer to sort this out.
Here's what I can't understand, Jack. We come from beating West Ham and we beat Spurs, and we've dragged ourselves back into that race. Still outsiders, still giving City the favourite tag. And then we go out there today. And I want to ask you a question bluntly and honestly, and Klopp won't say this, Klopp will never admit to it, but do you think those guys had one eye on the City game? Do you think they overlooked Brighton?
Possibly. I think you can tell a lot of them are knackered at the minute as well. I think Robbo and Trent are. That's the reason for their slight dip this season. I think Firmino definitely is. Salah even himself too. I think, we've seen over the last few years during busy periods like this, Klopp would rotate heavily, whereas this season he's not been able to as much because of the sheer amount of injuries we've had. We massively missed Mane tonight. We're still missing Van Dijk, and we will continue to miss Van Dijk. And those centre-back signings papered over a few cracks, Craig, because they gave us what we wanted on deadline day. But there's so many more problems for Liverpool Football Club right now. It's not just our centre backs. It's not just the fact that we've got a crisis at the back that we now seem to have resolved with 2 signings. We've lost all our creativity. We're looking slow. We're looking very one-dimensional. We're looking lackluster. we're just looking shite, and it, you know, the last week made us have a bit of hope, but right now I think we need to turn things around, focus and concentrate on making sure that we're in that top four, and maybe push for the Champions League this season, make some good signings in the summer, be sensible in the market, and look towards next season now.
I agree with everything you've said, and nobody is above critiquing, or nobody's above criticism. We all, look, let's get this straight. None of us want Klopp to go. There's no Klopp out nonsense on this channel, but he isn't immune from criticism. And as you said, the starting 11 raised a couple of eyebrows. Look, nothing could be done about the goalkeeping situation, and I actually thought Queeveen did as well as he could have. I don't think he was at fault for anything, and I thought he if anything enhanced his reputation a little bit more. So you look at that, but you're missing Mane, you're missing Jota, you're missing Van Dijk, and we're missing Fabinho. I mean, the list goes on. You're missing Joe Gomez. But thankfully, that injury crisis may well start to ease as we're coming into what is our only hope of silverware now this season, the Champions League.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I think Kelleher did really well from a shot stopping perspective, but I think that the one thing we missed tonight from our goalkeeper was, you know, when the ball's at his feet, the distribution side of it that Alisson does really well and offers. I don't think Kelleher is quite as good as that, and I think we did miss that tonight. But at the same time, there was nothing. Tonight's result was nothing to do with Kelleher. You know, there were so many poor individual performances on the pitch. Going forwards, we were absolutely shocking. As I say, the substitutions weren't right, and we need to look at the squad as a whole, because, you know, right now the starting 11 aren't doing enough, but the players coming on off the bench are just are so poor. And as I say, Ox and Origi came on with half an hour to go. They had minimal touches. Origi tackled Robertson. You know, it was just a very, very poor game.
Yeah, I mean, I've always tried to defend Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain from some Liverpool fans who feel that it's time for him to go. And I used to try and defend because I think it takes a long time to come back from injuries. But even when he has come back, Jack, I'm not seeing anything there. I mean, I love the guy. He seems like a really nice fella. Must be great around the training ground. But we're going to have to be ruthless when the window comes in the summer. And there's going to have to be some big calls made. Chamberlain, Joel Matip, Divock Origi, Shaqiri, perhaps, they're all going to have to be moved on in some way, shape or form. And, you know, this could be the transition season. Last season, City had a bit of a fall off. I mean, it's very difficult for any club to maintain the crazy standards that this team has performed at for the past few years. And there was always maybe going to be that down season, and we can hide behind injuries as the excuse. But at the end of the day, I think you're right. Some of these lads are exhausted. Some of these lads are mentally fatigued. And, you know, we could well probably do with a little bit of shaking up and a little few people getting a reminder that there's no guarantee you're getting into that starting 11.
100%. I expect a slight dip in form. You know, these lads won the Champions League off the back of losing the Champions League final in Kiev. Then they went and won the first title in 30 years. And there was that big, you know, that big period in the season where the play stopped completely. And after lockdown, you know, it wasn't quite the same. We weren't quite the same. Then we had a very small turnover between last season and this one, a lack of pre-season. Trent Alexander-Arnold didn't have a pre-season at all. But as much as I can expect a slight dip in the players' form, that's when you need players in the squad to be pushing for a starting place, and that's what City have. You know, look at Aymeric Laporte. He hasn't stepped a foot out of line apart from injuries for the last couple of seasons, but they've got a good enough squad where John Stones comes in. He's playing outstanding this season. He keeps his place, and now Laporte, who's one of the best centre-backs in the Premier League, is struggling to get back into the City side. Liverpool don't have that, and I know I count the lucky stars that you know, we're not spending a country's money, and we're not spending a shit ton of oil money on sorting our team out. But I do think we haven't been proactive enough in the transfer windows over the last few years, and you know, we have so much dead wood in this squad at the moment that if we were more sensible in the transfer window over the last couple of years, we'll have moved on and stuff like that. But we've seen the last couple of transfer windows, Liverpool haven't made many or any signings at all in the transfer windows, and it makes you wonder now, should we be looking back on that and thinking, well, if we'd have bought in this phase and moved on this phase then maybe we'd be in a better situation right now.
I want to just, before I let you go, Jack, I want to just get your thoughts on this. And thank you for the super chat, mate. Said you can keep up with Klopp's pressing for more than 4 or 5 years. That's a fact. Sell one of our marquee players, get in the market, and let's see if we can turn this around. And I kind of think that that's what you were touching at, Jack, a second ago when you were saying about refreshing the squad. It might take, like, let's be honest, the way our club works is we usually do sell and reinvest. We're not a club that will go out there and just throw 200 quid net spend in a window. So, who do you think may be that one person that is sacrificed? I know I'm putting you on the spot a bit here. I've always said I felt it was Mohamed Salah personally, but I'd like to know your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I think it will be Salah, and I think we will bring someone in. It's an interesting one because I think Mo Salah thrives at Liverpool because he suits our system, perfectly. But I think he's the one that quite simply would probably make the most money on now. And this is the thing. I don't even think it was a marquee player we needed to sell to sign. I think there's a couple of players on the hinges of the first team that we could have moved on in the last couple of years and just even bought in better squad options. Like Origi has been. I've expected Origi to be off for the last 2 or 3 transfer windows, and he's just stuck around. And it's one of them things now where even on deadline day now we see Minamino go out on loan, and Origi stayed at the club. He comes on off the bench, he tackles Robertson, and he walks around when we're dying for a goal. It's frustrating, Craig. It really is, and the annoying thing, the angering thing for us Liverpool supporters right now is that there's nothing different about this Liverpool team that has been so good for the last 3 or 4 years. There's just no plan B at the minute. We're getting later in the games and things aren't working, and we're just resorting to spamming crosses into the box. Our corners late on are absolutely shocking. And, it's just the basics. They need to go back and think about the basics, because right now there's so many things going wrong, Craig, that it's hard to point out one. Thiago as well. I feel sorry for him because people point at him now and blame him. He's a world-class player, and what is going on at the minute has nothing to do with Thiago. He's trying to adjust to the Premier League at the time that Liverpool are just happening to be in one of our worst runs. And it's a very difficult task for Thiago. But today there was some killer passes made by Thiago that for some reason the players can't miscontrol. There was one that was beautiful where he found Mo Salah, where he completely cuts open the Brighton defence, and Mo Salah fails to control it. It's just things like that. I think there's a lot Liverpool need to work on right now, and we're going into that City game on Sunday, which is a huge game, very much depleted, and needing something to change, Greg.
Yeah, what we've done today is give City, United, and all the other chasing clubs, well, I say chasing, all the other clubs in and around the top 4, a massive boost in the arm. Look, I always love to speak with you, Jack, and I doubt we'll talk on the podcast again, and I'm sure you'll be making a couple of videos. I'm just unfortunate that it's a bad day today for us, mate, but look, you're always the voice of reason. I always enjoy having a chat with you. I'm going to get some callers on now, but I'm going to let Jack Gill go. Jack, as always, buddy, a pleasure. We'll chat real soon.
Cheers, Craig. Thank you.
Bye-bye, mate. Look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to bring in a few callers now before we finish. I know I'm very bright here on the camera, so bear with me. There's Gilbert and there's Yusef who's on standby. I'm going to bring in Gilbert first, mate. So if you can just unmute your mic there, buddy, and give us your thoughts on the game. Okay, maybe Gilbert's not there. Yusef, are you there, buddy? Okay, let me bring Jack back in for a second. I don't know what was going on there. Who have we got? Gilbert or Yusef? Who's there?
Hello?
Who's this?
Hello, it's Gilbert.
Gilbert, how are you, mate?
Good, mate. Good, mate. How are you? Not too good, I guess, but yeah.
So what's your thoughts on the game? What's your overriding emotion after that shit show?
My overriding emotion is, to be honest, I think if we're all being honest with ourselves, we've seen that this season and towards the end of last season, we've seen that kind of performance many times, haven't we? Let's be honest. I don't know what it is exactly.
Yeah.
I can't really pinpoint it to an exact, one reason why we're not doing too well. Obviously, the injuries have hurt us badly, but if you think about it, the points we've dropped. What is it against the top five? We've dropped points against the bottom five, all of them. Every single team in the bottom five, we've dropped points against. What is it? I have no idea.
It's just not good enough, quite frankly, mate, is what it isn't. It's banging our heads against the wall the same way over and over again and thinking we're going to get a different outcome. We just keep going side to side and backwards. And Jack kind of pointed out there, when we get into positions where we have a chance to run at defenders, the Manes and the Salahs and the Firminos of old would take them on. But for some reason now, it seems to be a safety-first attitude of turn back inside and allow the defence to reset. And it does my head in, mate.
Yeah, I agree with you fully. And the first half, to be honest, even though we conceded in the second half, the first half I think was, it was a lot worse than the second half. And at least in the second half, we tried to, go forward a bit. But in the first half, it was always sideways, backwards, sideways, backwards, sideways, backwards. Thiago, what's his name? Wijnaldum had one of his worst games I've seen him. He lost the ball many times and he just looked knackered. He looked shattered. And why Milner played, I have no idea, honestly. He's played 3 games in a week, Craig. He's 35. Why is he playing? Why
I completely agree. I was fully expecting Curtis Jones' name to be on that team sheet, and deservedly on the team sheet, I might add.
He should be on the team sheet, and Ox should be on the team sheet as well. Give Gini a rest. Play Thiago in the 6. Let him dictate the play. They're going to park the bus. What else are they going to do? It's Bryson.
Look, to be fair, I would slightly disagree in that I don't think that Graham Potter and the way Brighton play are a park the bus team. I think they were just clever in the fact that they were compact when they didn't have possession and they tried to break when they did have it. But, I've seen other teams come back and just never look to go forward. But in fairness to Brighton, they did try and play their way out when possible. And they deserve the win today. I'm not sitting there making excuses, man. They thoroughly deserve their victory.
No, I fully agree with you. And let me rephrase the whole park the bus thing, because I think we're used to teams coming to Anfield and parking the bus. To be honest, I'm a fan of Graham Potter because I like the way he plays. His team play good football, and they were very defensive because they have to be. But also they did come forward really well when the time was right for them. They broke really well. And I don't know what it is with Robertson. Like he seems scared to attack now. Like he's always like he's hesitant to go forward now. I don't know what it is. It's strange.
I want to get your take before I let you go, Yusef, or excuse me, Gilbert. I want to get your take, mate, on the transfer window in the summer. Who do you think we need to get rid of? Who needs to be moved on? Who is the dead wood? And who the hell is robbing a living? Apart from Origi, we can all agree that Divock Origi's stealing a living at the club.
He's been stealing a living for the past 4 years, mate. Honestly, I don't know. I think from the players that I've seen, the player that I want, there's 2 players that I want. I want the player that played against us today, Basuma. I thought he was sensational again. Honestly, he was spotless the whole game. Brilliant player, and I think he could probably replace Wijnaldum. A player from Leverkusen. I don't know if you know a lot about him. A certain member of this channel, Agenda, he mentioned him to me, and I had a look at him. And I think it's Diaby of Leverkusen. He looks like a really top talent, both-footed, strong, quick. He reminds me a bit of Mane, to be honest. He looks like an excellent player. To get rid of, I think I would get rid of if I could Firmino. I would get rid of him. I think his time's the way we play with him. I think that time's past now. Yeah, so I think I'll try and keep Salah as much as I could, if I could play and maybe play Salah up top and put Diaby on the right, Mane on the left, and getting another centre back. The centre back I want is probably one that's impressed me, probably Botman, which I've seen the most on recently. So yeah, those 3 players I think would rejuvenate our squad, to be honest. Yeah.
Well, hopefully we do see that business done in the summer. I'm going to move on to have a chat with Yusef, buddy. But Gilbert, thank you very much, mate, on being the official first caller in on Anfield Agenda's post-match phone-in show.
Nice one, Craig. Nice one. Cheers.
Always a pleasure, man. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye. Bye.
Gilbert, Or excuse me, Yusef, are you ready to come on, buddy? Are we all good to go?
Yes.
There you go. You love to see it, mate. How do you feel after this game? We've been waiting to have this chat, by the way, for those that aren't aware, myself, Yusef and Gilbert, they were supposed to come on months ago, but our system kept messing up. Obviously, we're all devastated, Yusef, after that game. What are your initial thoughts, mate, and how angry are you?
I'm very frustrated. I think it was, from our point of view, it was actually a boring game to watch. Like, I don't say that a lot about Liverpool, but this game was boring to watch from a Liverpool fan. We were scared of running at them. I think we did something too much, and that thing is that we pass it to the sides, play the ball in, and we pray. We've been doing that a lot this season, and that's what happened in the blip that we had a couple of games ago. That's why we don't score, is because we don't have that creativity. We need to get more creativity there, and I think did you see that Trossard chance? I think it's because that save that Kelleher made. Trossard got the chance because he wasn't afraid to run at us. That's the thing. We were afraid to run at them, and we just pass it back, and that just slows down the whole game. And yeah, I'm very frustrated with this result. We played like we did a couple of games ago when we weren't scoring at all.
You know what really got to me, Yusuf? If you look at their goal, it's exactly the way we tried to set up our attacks. A deep ball to the back post, a header back across, only they executed it and we kept banging our head against a brick wall. If we're going to play those deep crosses, those crosses to the far post, I like to call them the Gerrard De Bruyne type ball, you need to do it from at least 20, 25 yards out, farther out on the touchline when you're trying to switch play quickly. Brighton did it once during the game. They did it magnificently. The ball gets put in the net. And what do? As you've said, we just bang our heads against a brick wall and put Hail Mary passes in or try long 50, 60-yard diagonal balls from our centre-backs.
Yeah, exactly. I definitely agree with that. And the thing that I'm also saying is that also I think last season, we could have won that. Like last season, if you remember, I think the Aston Villa game, it was 2 crosses and we scored 2 goals. Now, like we did not have the determination. Like in that Villa game when we won 2-1 with 2 late goals last season, we kept going forward and we didn't give up. I think in this game we were just like, we didn't do anything. We were, like you said, banging our heads. We were just absolutely boring to watch, and we were not doing anything.
Yeah, and for you, are you worried about top 4, Yusuf, or do you think that, that's almost a given and we'll push ahead in the Champions League? Because it's easy for us to be arrogant here sitting as current champions, but we are in a fight for a top 4 spot right now, in my opinion. You've got Leicester, you've got obviously you've got Leicester United, you've got Spurs coming up on the outside, you've got Everton who could go on a run. Anybody who puts together 3 or 4 games now from 8th, 9th place up can push themselves into contention for a Champions League spot. And I cannot imagine this club and our transfer window without guaranteeing ourselves Champions League football.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. Like I'm a little worried about top 4, but I think time will tell, because if you look at our next fixtures, we play City next, then we play Leicester, who are all contenders, and I think those games will definitely tell us if we're going to make it or not. And we also got Everton, who are also top 4 contenders. I think those games we really need to push on, and we need to wake up, because if we're going to play like we did today, we are screwed. Simple. It's just, it can't happen again. We need to start winning games better than this. We need to start playing better than this. And if that happens, I think we're going to make top 4. But it will be a very big challenge for us. And that's all our own fault.
Yeah, certainly. What fills me full of a little bit of hope, mate, is that usually when it comes to the big games, the Spurs or whoever it might be, we do raise our game, which is why it's so frustrating when you see the Burnley performance, when you see the loss today against Brighton. Why are we able to get ourselves up for the big games? And I guarantee you we'll be at it against Manchester City on Sunday from the off. But today, I keep thinking, I'm not a professional footballer. It's easy for me to sit here and say to these guys that they're looking past Brighton, they're looking ahead to Manchester City, but they wanted it more than us today. And that's the minimum that you need from a football teammate, is you need to just match the opposition's fight and tenacity. And we didn't do that today.
Yes, totally agree with what you said. I think also, like you just said right now, Brighton wanted it more than us. And also, it really frustrates me as well, is that we play well against the good teams, and against like the not so good teams, like mid-table teams, or relegation teams. We're looking like a different team. It really frustrates me, and it needs to improve, because last season the reason we won the league is that we were consistent in all games. Like, I don't even know like how to predict games anymore. Like, it's just one game we can win 7-0 against Crystal Palace, and then next game we tie West Brom. And one game we play West Ham and Tottenham, 2 games in a row, and we win that 3-1. And then we go at home. We're trying to bounce back after that Burnley defeat at home, and this happens. It's really frustrating, and I don't get it.
It is frustrating, mate. And look, I'd love to carry on chatting with you, and I'm hopeful to get you on again, Yusef, down the line. You have your own YouTube channel, I believe, mate. I don't want to big myself up in any way, but you did say that you started it because you enjoyed what we did here. So please feel free to give it a plug, mate, while you're on.
Oh, thank you so much. And yeah, so my channel is called Yusef Morsi. It is my name, and yeah, I think I started it because of what I saw Anfield Agenda do. They've given me a lot of inspiration to start this channel, and so far it's going well, and I really appreciate the support that you've given me, Craig, as well. And yeah, so it's called Yusef Morsi if you want to take a look at it.
As we always say, ladies and gents, we are a community on here, and people like Yusef out there starting their journey as well, we always wish them all the best. Yusef, my friend, it's been a pleasure chatting with you. Unfortunately, it wasn't in the best of circumstances, but no doubt we'll catch up again soon.
Yeah, definitely, man. And thank you so much for having me on. Really appreciate it. And I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, mate. Take care. Ladies and gentlemen, that's where we're going to leave the post-match show. I just want to end it by saying massive credit to Brighton for their deserved victory today. Our Premier League defence is over. I'm under no illusions on that. It's all about securing top 4 now. Let's see if we can push on and keep this run going in the Champions League. If you get past Leipzig, we're into the quarterfinals. It's heartbreaking. It's soul destroying. I've gone past the stages of anger right now. I don't know how you're feeling. Let me know your thoughts in the comments as well. Apologies for a few little technical hiccups. This was our first ever phone-in show afterwards. We'll get this sorted out as we move forward. Thank you to Jack Gill for coming on. Thank you to Gilbert, and thank you to Yusef. As always, thank you to you guys for watching. Stay safe, be well. Lots of love to you all. We'll bounce back from this, folks. Up the Reds.